poem is called Amber Waves of Anger. Uh, Anger and I met today in a place where I allowed him to sit beside me, with me this time, instead of running. Instead of against me, loathing me, I allowed him freedom to be expressed. I had felt dismissed. Anger warned me of possible impending harm and alerted me to the choices I had that were begging me to warrant his attention. How would I respond? How would I react without being squelched or left unfelt, acknowledged or internalized, propelled inward with self-hatred, without anyone's interference, censorship or disapproval, or a need to be silenced or screened, or to have someone else have my back? It was expression my anger lacked. We sat together and commiserated over his lack of expression, and we held each other. I leaned in, and then we kissed. Our courtship was like that of a forbidden lover. Right or wrong had no occupancy here, without a jury or judgment nor indictment. The fear was of something being threatened to be completely taken away, or what I needed being withheld. Injustices had already been done. Anger built up and just needed to be felt because of what had already happened. Newly triggered feelings that were oh so familiar of past infractions were causing possibly an overreaction, bringing up previous violations that were making their way to the stormy surface to be visited again. Once I allowed him to come, he came in amber waves of anger. He no longer had to remain dormant or be shoved down with food or pills as a cure for all of his ills. He didn't try to fight with all his might or even try to make things right or take full responsibility for what was done or threaten to be averted back on me for what someone else clearly did. His expression could be looked at as a defensive posture with no acceptance where someone else might take offense, instead of being seen as a survival mechanism that he is. Why did I believe that he still needed to remain hidden? All humanity has this God-given emotion, but why had he become less human, stifled, and why had I annihilated him? And became more important than having him as mine. Anger and I met that day, and I claimed him to have and to hold, and I put a ring on his finger. And now I have a choice in how I express him and how I react. Now we could feel each other in a warm, accepting embrace. Anger can be a catalyst for growth in a forward motion without getting stuck or staying in the muck, where transformation is made. But too long in the shade or staying hidden would bid anger to become a prisoner held captive by an evil jailer that poisons both the hider and the proposed recipient, that threatens to look like a traitor who's trying to take away or deflect my own emotions, where no one wins and then someone possibly sins, where intentional harm goes unexposed in a sea or ocean of forgetfulness, like the crimes that were done to me that had been covered up. The criminals did do damage. There was a reason for his rage. No one can make up for the transgressions that have been done to me. No one else can take responsibility or blame for them, including me. I set anger loose, not to harm, not to run, not to flee, nor to become his own noose, but to be felt and to protect me, to be loosed, uninhibited but limited as to what he was allowed to do, at least for a moment to be felt, and give him the time to more tenderly respond. He was given a voice by my saying, "I'm angry, I'm mad," without thinking I'm to blame or that I'm bad, or be responsible for everyone else's feelings of shame, or be utterly dismissed without a choice to be me, without having to wallow in self-hatred and condemnation, or flee and forget all about my needs, or be responsible for the whole entire nation. Anger, bring it on. You've been stifled for way too long. Anger is a feeling, nothing more, nothing less. To take it away is to hide you and leave you unexpressed. Anger alerts us to possible danger, whether with somebody we love or a complete stranger. Anger felt can be a positive emotion to get the help that is needed or click survival into motion. To fight, to flee, to freeze, to protect me. But to freeze the emotion of anger is to paralyze me. If done long enough, the next time I need to possibly flee, I wouldn't be able to access you. I would learn to be helpless instead, and possibly dead. You can take others into consideration, but not at your own expense, and certainly not to your own demise. Anger, I'm no longer scared of you, or frightened into total submission. Because of you, I no longer betray myself for a lack of admission. You have a voice that can be heard. You have the lyrics to a song. You have what it takes to not just comply or to just go along with what you've been told, but to stand up for yourself and for what is still being done to others. To shun you would be to lose my choice and limit my voice, just going along with no resistance, or do what I didn't want to do just because of another's insistence. Then nothing different would be done. Anger, you're the catalyst to making change when you're channeled and directed. Anger, you are warranted without being on hold and with self-control. Anger, you are welcome here. This is your home. You don't have to go. Anger, you can stay. You don't have to go it alone. We need each other. I can't fight without you. By accepting you and expressing you, I can take any bad situation and be brave enough to make a change and be the difference that this world so desperately needs. Rage is the peak of anger's expression and the plow in the fertile soil of emotions. In the garden of my heart, at the core of me, when there is no longer the lack of freedom of his expression or any act of transgression. Because wrath can grow if left alone to fester, causing bitterness and unforgiveness, and relationships to sever. But somewhere in the process of being felt, there is growth and transformation, even though things can look ugly before they get better, until you see the beauty of the human soul standing up for itself, defending their own rights, and joining in the fight to defend the rights of others. You haven't seen anger in action or had your life put to the test. When push comes to shove, you just have to fight for the right to survive and claim and reclaim the person God created, instead of just being hated or abandoning yourself. We really all are related in this human race, and our DNA is laced with a love of humanity. Anger can be used to fight for liberty and freedom and a right to choose, a God-given grace for a taste of the commonality that connects us. Those of us who were not protected but survived, we have an even closer connection with anger, because what we share is a life fought for that has a flavor that those who haven't had to fight for their life will never know. Thank you.